Today's messing around in the shop is accompanied by Jaipur Amber Ale from Brazen Hall Brewing in Winnipeg. They describe it as a brown ale with flavors of caramel, subtle chocolate, and some earthy yet fruity notes. Sounds interesting. Also sounds familiar. I'm pretty sure I've had this one before. So today I'm going to be returning to this microphone cable that I got in a previous mailbag. It is intended to be a microphone to USB-C, an XLR microphone to USB-C with some smarts or preamplification and analog to digital conversion all contained in the connector here. When I unboxed it a few weeks ago, I assumed that the electronics would be hiding in the XLR connector, but that's not what's happening. What is in the XLR connector is just 2 wires coming from the cable instead of the 3 that you would normally expect to be connected to a balanced connector like the XLR. Looks like it's got the shield connected to the shield tab and pin 1, which is where it should be, and also to pin 3, and the hot or signal wire is connected to pin 2, which is sort of what you would expect for an unbalanced signal connected to a balanced connector. So that's something, I guess. It should work, you'd think, but as we saw when we plugged it into the computer last week, or into a phone, it didn't do anything too useful. Let's put that back together and connect it to my good old dynamic microphone here, which should work according to the manual. Not that it's much of a manual, but whatever. So it suggests that you should be able to plug the XLR into a guitar or microphone. Don't know how you plug an XLR into a guitar, but maybe you can try it. Maybe this cable optionally comes with 6.3, which is standard quarter inch. Anyway, and then you plug your USB-C into your phone, tablet, or computer, because it talks about computer up there, but not PS3, 4, Guitar Hero, Xbox, whatever. So plug it in and it should automatically recognize it and install drivers if necessary. It shouldn't need drivers, but you know, if you're using a laptop, just select the external USB-C input. No drivers are required when using a desktop or laptop. But then we get down here. Does not provide 48 volt power supply, does not provide phantom power, which means you can't use it with a standard condenser microphone as you might expect. But then over here, it shows the technical specs. 21 dB mic gain. That's not a lot. A dynamic microphone is usually in the neg 50-ish dB range. So that's not a lot. And then it has mic bias. You only need mic bias on a condenser microphone, which is what the 48 volt Phantom does. So I'm curious about that. Input level 100 millivolts, whatever. Signal to noise ratio 93 dB. Total harmonic distortion plus noise neg 70 dB. Frequency 20 to 20 kilohertz, which is theoretically the extent of human hearing, but whatever. I don't expect any microphone to be able to do that. At least not a normal microphone, maybe an instrumentation one. Regardless, power consumption 40 milliamps max. So maybe before we even connect the microphone to the computer, I'm just going to plug this guy into the computer and we'll see if it is in fact making that 40 or 2 or 3 volts or whatever it suggests it is doing. So measuring across pins 2 and 3, which is where the signal is. Yeah, 2.8 volts, 3 volts. So that's not going to do anything for a dynamic microphone or a guitar like they talked about. Matter of fact, it could actually introduce extra noise. Where that would probably work is just a condenser microphone element. We'll play with that in a second. I just want to re-demonstrate this for people who didn't watch that mailbag video. So I'm connected up here. So when I plug it in, it does show up as this right here. So the computer is recognizing it. And when I go to inputs, it shows up there. And you're listening to my normal studio microphone right now. But which is that one right there, and you can see that it is making sound. So we don't need to look at that anymore. Taking apart a molded-in USB-C connector, that is going to be the trick. There is a bit of rubber there, which I think is still that bit of rubber. And I don't know what to do about this aluminum shell here. I'm going to guess that there's some sort of a locking mechanism in there. I don't know. I don't really want to completely destroy the connector if I can avoid it, but it may not be possible. I'm sure somebody is going to be down in the comments telling me exactly what the proper way of doing this is. And feel free. Okay, well, so that got that off finally, and it looked like it was glued on, but now everything down there is still rubber encapsulated. Surgery time, I think. If I reassemble this, it's going to be with heat shrink probably, so yeah. Yes, I know I shouldn't be cutting towards my fingers. Alright, there's what's inside our little connector. And it looks like I've dented the USB connection a little bit. Hopefully that still works. Yeah, it seems to still plug in. Okay. That deserves a bit of a reward. Let's see what this is made out of. It is a handful of capacitors and one chip. Need to break out the 20 times magnifying glass for this one. CBHT is the manufacturer, CB1200AU. Only 2 connections coming off it, although there could be 4. There's a ground, I'm assuming, and a main or signal. There's a left and a right, which is other possibilities, I guess, but I don't think those are necessarily in use. And what's on the back of here? Looks like a 24 megahertz crystal, a couple of resistors, a handful of capacitors, and that is it. So I guess let's see if we can look up that chip. I don't know what else to do. I couldn't find a data sheet, but I did find this, which looks suspiciously similar. CB1200AU DAC, 32-bit, 384 kilohertz, supports a bunch of other stuff. And this is the module, MG left and L and R. Compatible with Android or iOS or Windows or Harmony, and if it's compatible with Windows, it's compatible with pretty much any computer. There's no other specs or anything else, but it sounds like this is actually designed for being used with headphones that have a microphone, which makes sense with what we see on the little board there, because we have a left and a right and a ground and an M, which is microphone. So they've just repurposed that type of a chip. So it's suggested that it can be used with a guitar. So let's try that, because a guitar is going to have a hotter signal coming out of it than a standard dynamic microphone. Let's just see what happens. Where is... That's back there. And this cable is there. So... if we bring back our audio mixer, and here is that USB device again, I'll just give the strings a strum. Oh, look at that. Okay. And then if I turn that on, and it's not in a good playing position, so I'm not going to strum a proper chord, but I think that's actually coming through. Let me just mute the microphone for a second. So all you're hearing is from this. I think you're hearing that according to what I'm seeing anyway. Although upon listening back to it a little bit, it was noisy. Which I suspect is because of the DC bias on here. I want to try another experiment. Stand by. I'm going to see if one of these little condenser microphone elements can be soldered onto there, and we'll work with that little, what is that, 3 or 4 volts, and give us a signal that we can play with. So let's just get in here again, and I think I'm just going to tack this across just as a quick and dirty. So there is a polarity to these microphones. You can see the one pin is connected to the shell, so that is the negative one. And the other one is the positive, which is also the signal. So I will connect that negative one to the shield, which is pin 3 in this case. And I'll connect the signal one to pin 2, which is the signal wire. Uh-oh. Hang on. Get back in there, you. Obviously, I don't want to leave it like that forever. I may not even leave it like that for longer than this experiment, but let's just see what happens when we plug that in now. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Well, we can see it on there. It looks like it's a little bit quiet. Suppose I could turn it up a little bit over there. Hope it's not distorting. 1, 2, 3, hello. Well, I'm going to have to review this recording and see what it sounds like, but you've already heard it. Now, as expected with this little capsule, it sounded kind of thin and tinny, but it actually worked, and certainly worked better than with the dynamic microphone, which is the microphone that this connector would imply. So, it put the guitar through okay, although there was some background noise that I am fairly confident was based on having that voltage put onto the coils in the guitar where it wasn't expecting it. Not sure. Maybe a series capacitor would fix that if I wanted to use this for a guitar cable. I don't know. Not quite sure if this was worth the price of admission. Actually, I'm fairly confident it wasn't. But it was an interesting experiment nonetheless. And we got to learn about it, about this little module, which appears to be available as a separate module from manufacturers, which could be useful. Might actually hack that into a headset at some point in the future. Other than that, I guess I've got a connector that I can use for something else. So, yeah, that was an interesting set of experiments. Questions and comments down below, I guess. I'll put a link to where I bought this thing from. I don't know if I would recommend that you buy it or not, but if you're curious about messing around with it, might be interesting to take a look at. Anyway, thanks for watching. Questions or comments, you know the deal. Talk to you later.